All right. I've received a couple of questions, more than a couple, but they seem to be in one or two categories about Aeolian harps, and most people want to know how to make them. A few people would like me to have a video on how to make them, and you know, I'd really like to, but time doesn't permit me to do that. So I'm going to step you through on how to make an Aeolian harp out of a common gutter downspout. I call this a gutter harp. The first thing you need is a gutter harp. Now here's an old piece, and you can use new ones. They're made out of aluminum. They're kind of nice. And you want to fill in this end with a wood plug and this end with a wood plug. What I have done is I use a piece of 2x4. Now most of your modern 2x4s are made out of pine, but they're heat treated, which makes them a lot harder. And that's a good thing, because ordinarily you would use maple or oak to put your hitch pins and your tuning pins in. So with a little piece of 2x4, you want about 3 inches. And you can taper the end a little. And once you do that, it will fit in here, down to about so. You need 2 of them for each side. Then, you will get for your tuning pins. You're going to need some tuning pins. Depends on how many you want, how many strings you want. These are tuning pins. They're zither tuning pins. And they're threaded about halfway, about 1 inch of thread. And there's a square end. And with that square end, you use a key to screw it in. Another important feature is a small hole you put your string through, and that's for tuning. Once you make several holes in the end, remember your wood is in here. Your tuning pins require a 11/64 drill bit. Don't ask me why, but it seems to work every single time, and that's recommended by the manufacturer. So we put a series in here. Now for the other end, you have to have something for your strings to latch onto, and I would usually use hitching pins, but for this particular design you can use brad nails. You just bang them right in there, right into the wood, and then you tune it up. What you will get is something like this. Here are my brad nails. Here are my zither tuning pins. This is the key that I tighten and loosen it up with. Well, this particular design has strings on all 4 sides. And what I usually do is double up the strings. It's hard to tune them that way, but an Aeolian harp sounds good out of tune. It really does. So I have 6 strings with 4 tuners here, and I've got another, actually 7 strings, because this is a single. 2, 2, 2, 2. I use this as a window harp, but with a couple of brackets, it's a great outdoor harp too, standing up. I'm going to first talk about what kind of string we use. That's another big question. String has to be round. That's the important thing. Now this is weed whacker string. And most of the weed whacker stuff that I find in stores is kind of got a star pattern if you look down at the end. But this is very, very round, and it's perfect for making Aeolian harps. But you wouldn't want to use a thick string like this on a thin or a small harp. This would work great on a 12-foot harp. And here's my dial vernier. I'm going to find out how. This is 65 thousandths, which is pretty thick. If that were fishing line, and fishing line is a great thing to use for Aeolian harps. This is 20 thousandths thick. This is a great size for like a 2-footer or a 3-footer. And this is 25-pound test, like for a bass or a trout or something. Definitely not shark. But you can get that in different strengths. Another good use of old guitar strings is Aeolian harps, but you are limited to the size. I think 32 inches is about it, your average. And only use nylon guitar strings, because the steel, even though the steel is supposed to work, it's really hard to get them sounding. And last but not least is harp strings. This stuff is fantastic, and it comes in rolls of 50 feet, and you have to buy this at a place that sells musical instrument parts. Now, here's a cheap commercial, but I love this place. It's Music Makers. You can find them online, but they have everything you need. They have pins, tuning pins, hitch pins, zither pins, and they have harp string if you really want it. So, let's say we have all our strings on our piece. I am going to put my end brackets on so I can put this in a window. And we're going to try it out. Make sure it's going the right way. It was going the right way. Okay, that's one. Now, it's kind of a still day outside, and I am so fortunate that I have an attic fan that draws air. So, I'm going to run upstairs and put the fan on, and Matt will reposition himself. And this will sound right here. You know, before I do that, let me answer the last question about the Vox Humana. The Vox Humana. Can it be played by hand? Not really. That means I have to get my hand in here and play it. It's really very difficult. It's like playing a harmonica while it's stuffed in a toaster. Can't be done. But what is on the inside of the Vox Humana? I think you might like that. Know that. Most of these strings are harp strings, and a few of them are fishing line. This is what the inside of the Vox Humana looks like. It's just one long 8-foot harp. Here are my tuning zither pins, and on the other side I have my hitch pins. You notice I have a small rake on them, which means they're angled out. That's to keep them there, otherwise they'd be going off. I'm also going to show you that this sounds also. So let me position my harps and turn on the fan, and I'll be right back. I'm going to leave you with the sound of a large 7-foot harp. This is the cousin to the Vox Humana. The Vox Humana has at least 4 of these inside it. And you can play this. They're almost the same note, but you can turn them differently. That's what it sounds like played, like an old bed spring you're pulling on. But when you open the door and let some wind hit it, an Aeolian Harp. Thanks for watching.